So for Restaurant Week, what Mancy's Italian, one of the dishes Mancy's Italian is doing is a heart-healthy, friendly dish for you to come in and try. It's going to be a piece of seared halibut. You can use any fish you are comfortable with. If you'd rather do salmon, you can do salmon, you can do grouper. In this case, we're going to use a Pacific or a West Coast halibut. Want to get your pan going, a little bit of oil. You don't want a lot of oil, just enough to sear in. It's probably about a teaspoon and a half or so. Lightly season your fish. You know, if you're really into like low sodium, especially, you can even go without. But salt certainly does add a little bit of flavor when cooking as well. So, got our fish seared. We got our pan nice and hot. It's important if you're going to sear fish, you got to get the pan ripping hot, almost to the point where it's smoking, or your fish is going to stick really, really bad. Which means if it sticks, it's going to tear on you when you go to flip it. So it's got to be really hot. Let that get a little bit more hot. Touch a bit more oil in there. It's also important that when you sear fish, you always want to go flesh side down first, not the skin. And you can ask your whoever handles your fish for you, your fishmonger, or if you go to Anderson's or wherever, you know, when you buy pre-cut skinned fish, they'll tell you which side is, which is pretty easy to tell which side is the flesh side and which side is the skin side. You can see the color difference right there. So let's take a look here. No, we're not quite hot enough yet. We'll get that just a little bit more hot. I can't stress the importance of an extremely hot pan. You see how it's starting to smoke now? You're looking for that smoke. Alright. Also, never put fish in towards you. The grease can splatter and burn. You always want to go away from you. There you go. In the pan we go. Nice and hot. Let it sit for a second. What you want to develop is you want to put a little sear, a little bit of crust on that fish. If you mess it too soon, you're not going to get that color you want, you know? You know, you're going to want to, for a fish this thick, you're looking at a good inch, maybe a little bit more than an inch thick. You're going to want to put a nice sear in it, you know, a few seconds, right about a little bit longer. Look for the color first, then we're going to finish it in the oven to finish cooking it all the way. A little more color on that, guys. You want a nice brown color on the fish. You can put it in the oven now, but you don't want it pale. You want nice and sear, a little bit of crispness to it on the outside, and it's still nice and moist on the inside. There you go. That nice color right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Here's 30 more seconds. Pan spray down. Keep the fish from sticking while it's in the oven as well. Sear on the other side. Same idea, you know, just a couple of minutes, you know, just keeping an eye on the color, make sure you're not getting too dark and not burning. You know, nobody likes to taste the burnt anything, especially fish. Once you start getting your color set, you can even finish it in the pan. I find that the pan, since it's so incredibly hot, the chances of finishing it in the oven to really watch it, it could burn on you. So that's why I'm putting it on a separate pan. Drop it in a 450-degree oven for probably about 3.5 minutes, and that's going to be fully cooked. All right, so the second phase of our seared halibut is going to be a whole grain truffle honeyed dressing. So what you want to start with is about a tablespoon or so per piece of fish of whole grain mustard. I bought this at the Andersons actually, so I know you can definitely find that there. They have many different flavors and varieties as well. About a tablespoon. You want to put a little bit of honey in, and you know, once again, that's going to be a lot to flavor in your liking. You want the honey to counterbalance the spiciness of the mustard, but not to be too cloyingly sweet at the same time. I'm going to put a little salt in there. This is sea salt. You can use kosher salt. I wouldn't recommend iodized salt just because I don't really like the flavor of iodized salt. And then lastly, this is truffle oil right here. You can find this at specialty food stores around Toledo. I would call in advance, maybe maybe the Andersons in Sylvania will carry it, but it's definitely available. And that's an oil that's been infused with the truffle mushroom, which is obviously from France, the black truffle mushroom. It's prized, a very expensive mushroom. Puts a really kind of a funky, sort of earthy flavor into the oil. And that's what we're looking to do here, is just make a dressing out of the Dijon, the oil, and the honey. It's about a good, well, I'd say third of a cup right there. Want to give it a whisk, just to incorporate. Now this dressing will not be emulsified, meaning that it won't stay together. You're going to have to whisk it or shake it before serving it. Let's check our flavor. Just a touch bit more honey, but not much more. A little bit more sea salt. Once again, trying to keep the sodium low, but at the same time, you got to have a little bit of salt in your food in order for it to come together. The third and final phase. Should roll it here. The third and final phase of this particular dish is going to be we're going to dress some. These are petite pea shoots, pea tendrils, and these are golden pea shoots. This is going to kind of be a little light salad. It's going to go over the top. Once again, just a little bit of salt. A little more of that truffle oil to bring out the flavor of that vinaigrette. And then just want to lightly just sort of toss it all together. You don't want to overwork these too much because they're very, very tender. They bruise very easy. All right, there you go.